Hi everyone, it's Mitch. It's Wednesday, October 22nd. We don't have any college football tonight. We have baseball tonight, which I don't really have much of an opinion on. Kind of like the Phillies, but last night's game we were pretty much on the mark. It was a game we didn't like. It was a game I personally didn't touch. If you waited long enough, you got to push, which you pretty much deserved. And I gave my opinion. I wasn't right. I didn't really have a strong conviction one way or another. I called in help. Jordan, who's a great picker of the weekday games, a great picker in general, who I hope to have back often. And he was right on the money as he usually is with the weekday games, and that's why we called him in. So no harm, no foul, and we're gonna move on to the next set of games. I talked about a bunch of games in the blog. Really like Oregon this week. Line looks a little low. Arizona State just not living up to those preseason expectations. Oregon, good secondary. They've given up a lot of yards, but they got some great athletes back there. They've overcome some quarterback issues, and I really like them this week. I like Michigan State over Michigan. I think Michigan has just been a mess. The home field has not been an advantage to the Wolverines. The road hasn't been an advantage to them either. Coach Rich Rodriguez will probably have his day in Michigan. He will probably end up having a great career there and be legendary, but it's not going to happen this year. They've already suffered two home losses to Toledo and Utah. Among other things. Among really bad loss to Illinois as well. But they when is the last time that we could say that Michigan has lost to a Utah and who's very good this year, but still Utah and Toledo at home. So Michigan State, I think this is these two teams, they don't like each other, and Michigan State, if they see that opening, they're gonna pounce on it because nothing will make their fans happier and their alumni happier than a blowout of their arch rival. And I think they got the chance to do it by at least a few touchdowns this weekend. The other game that I go into in the blog, and it might be a little confusing and a little X's and O's stuff, for you guys. But it's, and that's the Alabama-Tennessee game, and I really like Tennessee. And it's because of the injury to Terrence Cody for Alabama. He is a difference maker. And, while wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks usually get a lot of the press, and even linebackers, safeties, the game's won and lost in the trenches, and we hear this all the time, but it is very true. And the reason why that is that if you have a defensive tackle that occupies two or three blockers, maybe even four at times, it leaves a lot of room for your other guys to run free, to make tackles, for your defensive backs to basically ball hawk, and even to insert a couple other guys into coverage, because guys will have to stay in and block other things. It changes game plans, it changes schemes. Without Cody in there, Alabama's going to be a different team, as we saw once he left the game at Mississippi. It was comeback city. If that game goes 10 more minutes, who knows what happens. Mississippi doesn't fumble here. There was plenty of chances, but Ole Miss, they covered, and they came back from 24-3 in that game once Cody came out. And Tennessee isn't going to start in that hole. They're going to be home against the Tide. They're going to be fired up. Coach Phil Fulmer is going to be looking to save his job, so he's going to have his boys motivated for this one. And I just like Tennessee. Don't love them. Not going to bet the farm on them or anything, that's for sure. But I certainly like them, and I certainly like them. Maybe even a shot to win this one outright against the Crimson Tide. Last year the Tide without Terrence Cody in there, they were ordinary, and they certainly looked ordinary once he left the game. John Parker Wilson has not put up the numbers. He has not proven that he can win the game on his own, and it's going to be interesting to see when Alabama's got to play with a full field, because when your defensive line is dominating a game, you get field position. You get all those things that happen when your defense is making stops, making plays, because you have guys that are running free, unblocked. And, you can email me. We could talk in the forums about this all day long, but it's something that I strongly believe in, because I've seen it over the years. If you look at all the great championship teams, it always starts on the defensive line. From the 85 Bears to my great Miami teams that I always loved, with Jerome Brown or Warren Sapp in the middle. And, they had, Michael Barrows and Jesse Armstead and Ray Lewis and all these great linebackers, Jonathan Vilma and Dan Morgan and DJ Williams, and the list goes on and on and on. But Vince Wolford was in the middle of those defensive lines, occupying two or three blockers, and even those linebackers, they'll be more than happy to say the exact same things that I'm saying. And even Ray Lewis a couple years ago for the Ravens demanded that they got a big defensive tackle, and they went out and did that because they know how important it was, to their entire team and their entire defense. So in any event, I can talk about this all day long because I'm a defensive guy. I love defense, and that's my game. So as is college football. So this is Mitch. And, we'll be back tomorrow to talk some more college football. Maybe not as much X's and O's and more just talk about the games. Maybe talk a little bit more about the picking contest, which is open, and I'm already receiving entries. So, it's not too late to join. So this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow where we got two games going on. Talk some college football.